We have got in studio with us Joe Cunningham. He is a former congressman and now is the national director of the No Labels Party. Can you fill us in a little bit about the basics of what the No Labels Party is, how you came to be, and what your stances are, not necessarily on issues, but why do you exist? What is it for?
Okay. A lot of questions there. I'll try to be concise, and you cut me off if you want to move on to something else. But to give your listeners an idea, No Labels, it's a C4, it's a nonprofit that was started over 12 years ago by Nancy Jacobson. And the idea was to fill this void, try to bridge this partisan divide. And it was instrumental in creating what's called the Problem Solvers Caucus, which, as many people may know, is a group of half Democrats, half Republicans. I was a member of it when I served in Congress, and it's a group that meets every single week to try to solve our nation's problems. And they're, for the most part, fairly moderate, and they try to work together. They extended a bit over into the Senate to have allies on that side as well. So that's where the majority of the work that No Labels has been doing over the last 12 plus years. Every single piece of bipartisan legislation that's passed has had the fingerprints of the Problem Solvers Caucus on it. How
many members in that Problem Solvers Caucus?
I think we're about 50 now, I believe.
50?
Yeah, it's swelled a bit since I left.
So the No Labels Party, do you have active candidates right now?
Yeah, so we, a couple of years ago, just kind of put a bow on it. We expanded our vision from the House and Senate into the presidential election. We started polling a year and a half ago saying, what happens if it's Trump versus Biden? Everybody thought we were crazy. Imagine a year and a half ago, people were thinking, Biden's not going to run again. There's no way Trump will get the nomination. Lo and behold, our polling data showed the exact same thing or similar. Or actually, it's even worse now, but showed that America doesn't want this rematch. So we started off attaining ballot access across the country for a unity ticket, a bipartisan ticket, Republican, Democrat, or Democrat, Republican, or Independent, to launch as an alternative to Biden-Trump. And so right now, the majority of our work has been securing ballot access. We're going to be on the ballot in Arizona here. As a dozen states total right now. Hope to be on about 20 by the end of the year. And I say that most states don't allow you to get on the ballot until 2024 anyways. So we're going at the pace we need to be, and we have a strategy to get on all 50 plus DC.
So what are the requirements within the No Labels Party? If a candidate wants to be a No Labels candidate, what are the requirements?
So we put out a booklet called Common Sense as a tip of the hat to Thomas Paine. And you can go to nolabels.org to learn more about it. There's my plug there.
Yep.
And you can find a copy of our booklet as well. And what it is, it's 30 different policy ideas. And some of them are more nuanced than others. But they cover, the gamut. They cover border security. They cover our nation's spending, women's access, to their own reproductive health, gun safety, all these things. And what it was is a reflection of America, like where Americans stand on these issues. And it shows that we actually have a lot more in common than the far left and far right. So long answer to your short question, we're looking for leaders who can bridge that partisan divide, who can work with the other side, but who also share the same viewpoints as the vast majority of Americans.
Can you give me is there an example? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but is there an example from both parties, a Republican and a Democrat, that you would say these are the type of candidates that would be a No Labels candidate, whether they would ever want to or not? But can you give us names?
Well, look, there's a lot of national leaders that have been associated with No Labels for a number of years that are floating around right now. The media's made, no qualms of putting people like Joe Manchin and Larry Hogan out there. We had John Huntsman in New Hampshire. For me personally, Mike, I always appreciated the Democrats who can win in red areas and the Republicans who can win in blue areas, because as we were talking, there's not as much of that workmanship across the aisle. Because, as we've seen in Congress, you get penalized for it, right? You get in your primary, they bring it up. So-and-so sponsor a bill with Marjorie Taylor Greene or AOC or whatever. So to have leaders who have that proven ability to work across the aisle, I think will be key.
Former Congressman Joe Cunningham is joining us. He is the national director of the No Labels Party. So I have said on the air many times that if you want to change who we elect, you've got to expand and change the electorate, because the same people are voting for the same people for the same offices. Do you have a plan? Do you have a voter registration plan? Are you reaching out to those disenfranchised or uninterested people that have walked away? Do you reach out to them, and how, if you do?
Yeah, our movement's building. I mean, we have data, collection of data, email list, people signing up. I was just in Denver yesterday at Metro State, and we had 70 kids piling in a room to learn more. And so I think it's gonna be twofold. Number one, it's gonna be obviously our proactive work, but also, we're getting a lot of people driven into our camp because of these two presumptive nominees. And it's no secret, that the majority of Americans are looking for something different. And when we nominate a ticket, Mike, it's going to be marquee level. This ain't going to be a fringe candidate. And this is not going to be a spoiler. This is not going to be somebody who takes disproportionately from one side or the other. This is going to be a solid ticket that Americans are going to take a very hard look at.
I appreciate the time this morning. If people want to learn more about No Labels, again, would you give them the website, or what are the best ways to find you?
Go to nolabels.org.
You on social media at all?
Yep.
Well, Facebook, Instagram,
the whole shebang, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming in this morning, and I hope we can stay in touch, because as we move into this election year, I'd love to have that option to talk with you about who those candidates might be.
Anytime.
All right, that is Joe Cunningham. He is the national director of the No Labels Party.